thank you all. I'll be brief. I just want to say it was the previous White House. I have just come back from India. I was there for a month, and I'm a little bit dazed. I came back on a long, long journey, pretty much walked into yesterday's protest. I was in New York City in the huge, I don't know, it felt like 5,000 people or more. It was very, very exciting to walk from the protests in India to the protests in New York and around the country, and now to be here in this very, very important group of people paying attention to India. I just want to give you a quick sort of synopsis of my trip. As was mentioned, I work in Afghanistan, and whenever I go to Afghanistan, my family is very, very nervous for my safety. I cannot tell you how nervous my family was for my safety on this trip to India. I traveled with activists, including Sandeep Pandey, and I did this to be in solidarity, and I got a taste of what it is like to be an activist on the front line in India today. You do not know in the morning whether that evening you will be in jail. There is surveillance of the magnitude I have never experienced in my life, and I know the reason Sandeep was talking about when we tried to go to Ayodhya, the reason they knew to be outside his door they were with us. They were our chaperone all the way halfway to Ayodhya. The way they knew that was because he's being watched every step. And he's just one out of countless brave frontline activists in India. I don't know what my hat's off to people like Sandeep and so many others with you whose lives are in danger. And yet, every single day they stand up and enter the protest. He talked about Mohammed Shoaib, one of the activists in Lucknow. I saw in the news, because when I was there in Lucknow, he was still in prison and we visited his family. I saw in the news that he was released from prison and he walked straight into the protest. This kind of, Soumya said, selfless protest, it is so inspiring. When I went to India, I must say I wasn't feeling very hopeful, and now I'm more hopeful. The protests are very inspiring, but it's still a very, very dark moment. My visit started with time spent with Rajmohan Gandhi and Anand Teltumde. Rajmohan Gandhi is a grandson of Mahatma Gandhi. Anand Teltumde is the grandson-in-law of B.R. Ambedkar, two of the fathers of India. Both of these men are very, very concerned for their country. Rajmohan Gandhi, at age 84, is taking part in the advocacy to defend India, Indian constitution and Indian democracy. And Anand Teltumde is any day maybe being put back in prison for strange, trumped-up charges of, I don't fully understand it, but apparently he tried to kill Narendra Modi. It's nonsense. And he actually, it's one of the chilling moments of my trip, he says, he doesn't know what's going to happen, but he predicts a genocide in India. And this is what Genocide Watch also recently predicted. I went to India on one mission. I'm with Hindus for Human Rights. As a Hindu, all of this that is happening, all this alarm bell ringing, it is happening on the back of my religion. It's happening in the name of my religion, and that is not okay with me, and that is not okay with Hindus of conscience. I went to India to find validation for my path, my mission, and I found, thanks to Sandeep and other friends of mine, they took me to find brave Hindus who are standing up against this atrocity. And I want to name the brave Hindus that I met in the holiest parts of India, in Ayodhya, and I finally made it to Ayodhya, because when you're not traveling with Sandeep, you can actually get around. So I made it to, the Mahant, the head of the temple, small temple, Ram Janki temple in Ayodhya, which is right adjacent to the disputed site of the demolished Babri Masjid. Right there in that red zone he lives and raises his voice. When we tried to make it to visit him, word was out that we were on our way. We got a call from him that police had come and put him in hospital against his will. And they told him that even if we made it, we could visit the temple, but we could not visit him. And then when I finally made it to Ayodhya another way, I had my visit, I spoke to him, we left, and then police arrived. And I don't know, they didn't do anything, but this thing about surveillance is very, very real. Sandeepji and this priest in Ayodhya and some other activists are in the process of dreaming up a multi-faith harmony center in Ayodhya, and Hindus for Human Rights pledges to be with you in that very holy pursuit. I'll just name the other priests that I met. Mahant Rajesh Tiwari in Varanasi, Mahant Vishwambar Nath Mishra in Varanasi, and you know this is Banaras, the holiest Hindu city. So these two priests in Banaras are speaking up as Hindus against Hindutva. I have the validation I need for the path of Hindus for human rights. There's one more priest that I met in Kerala. His name is Subramaniam. He is getting a lot of heat for speaking up against CAA, but he told me for him, there's no, the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, our holy book, and the Indian Constitution are one. So please, as we do our work, let's remember that this atrocity that's happening, this Hindu extremism, this Hindu fascism, is not Hinduism. And wherever you can in your work, find Hindu voices to speak up against this, this aberration of our faith. Thank you.